Hey you, do you want some extremely random and obscure tips to make you better at COD Zombies? Well, you've came to the right place. I got some really OP glitches and exploits in this video, as well as some side easter eggs that almost nobody knows about. Let's start off today with one of the best maps ever, Shadows of Evil. Did you know that you can actually get the Sword Specialist without doing a single ritual or riding the tram? While in Beast Mode, you can jump higher as well as traverse the map easier. You can actually use this to your advantage to get all the sword symbols that are normally locked behind the tram. The one at Canal District is by far the easiest one to get. All you have to do is jump and you can see the symbol. The one in Waterfront is a little tricky. You have to strafe onto this roof, and doing this does take a couple of attempts, but once you get it, you can actually jump and see the symbol in the window. The one in the Footlight District is definitely the hardest one to get. The way you get it is you stand next to this Beast Mode location and aim at the hook that I am. Once you go in Beast Mode, grapple onto the hook and walk forward towards this window, and once you're in the air, melee to lunge forward a little bit, and if you did it right, you should be on top of this building. So now all you have to do is jump to the next building and drop down to see the symbol in Footlight. Since there's no lock on the Apothecant eggs, like needing Pack Punch to unlock, or rituals done, or anything like that, you can do this on round 1 or round 2 if you're fast enough. And from here you can fill up the egg while unlocking Pack-a-Punch. That way you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Additionally, in the Canal District, you can actually fill up the egg while you're in the ritual for the Ruby Rabbit. As you can see, if you stand in this corner, any kills that you get will count as kills for your egg. Exploits like these are what make me love COD Zombies, but what if you don't like exploits like these and you want a legit advantage in your game? Well, that's where the next tip comes in, and this one is on Zetsubou no Shima. If you didn't know, you can actually buy perks on this map for half price. So anytime you'd want to buy Juggernog, it'll be 1,250 points instead of 2,500. If you want Mule Kick, it'll be 2,000 instead of 4,000. To do this, you first have to get all your challenges done in your game. If you're on co-op, then everybody needs to complete all of their challenges. When you do complete them all, lightning will occasionally strike the area where the skulls are. If you hold your shield out when lightning strikes, it'll actually transfer to your shield. At this point, all you have to do is go to the perk of your choosing or a gobblegum stand and shield bash it to transfer the electricity to the perk machine or whatever you're doing it on, and now you can buy it for half of its original price. It'll stay half price for around a minute after you shield bash it, so make sure you're ready to buy it before you do this. Another thing you might not have known is on Buried. If you need no zombies in the map, whether it's you're struggling with the sharpshooter step, or you just want to goof off in the map, or even if you just need to take a break in co-op games, there's a really easy glitch that you can do to glitch out the last zombie. So first, obviously, get down to the last zombie in the round, and make him a crawler to make this easier. Now get the candy, and when you have it, bring Leroy next to the crawler and give him the candy. Now Leroy will pick up the zombie. This part is actually intended to happen, but the zombie can eventually despawn, and I believe Leroy can actually kill him after a certain amount of time. So to stop this, when Leroy is picking up the zombie, shoot Leroy to send him back to his cage, and if you did it right, the zombie should stay in the air for around a second or two, and then fall on the ground. You now have free roam of most of the map. Now you can go eat or use the bathroom or whatever you need to do. When you're ready to kill the zombie, you can either kill him in the ground, or if you can't find him, you can go through the witch's house and on the other side, he should respawn a normal zombie. I got a question for all the Origins fans out there. What is your favorite elemental wonder weapon? Is it the ice staff? Is it the fire staff? Is it the elemental knife? But Jones, what's the elemental knife? I hear you ask. The elemental knife is a glitch you can do on your knife that'll make it a one-hit kill until at least the late 60s. I don't know exactly when it stops insta-killing, but it is very OP and it is a lot of fun to use. To do this, there's a few requirements. First, you need to be in a co-op game. Unfortunately, you cannot do this in solo. Second, you need to get to Iron Fist, which means you have to do the Easter egg all the way up until you get the 100 kills in the crazy place. The step before that is when you get the upgraded Iron Fist. When you have both, grab the staff of your choice and go into any of the robots. When you're in the robot, cook a grenade and down yourself and bleed out. When you fully bled out, have your teammate end the round, and when you respawn, you'll now have the elemental knife. This thing is crazy good. It's a one knife kill until at least the late 60s, like I said, and it can also kill panzers in 3 to 4 melees. It's a little wonky on Black Ops 3, like sometimes it doesn't insta-kill the zombies for some reason, but it does work on both versions of the map. If you ever want to show off in front of your friends, this is the glitch to do. After all, you don't need a staff when you have a knife. If this is too much work for you, well, lucky for you, I have another really cool trick to use so you can show off in front of your friends. This trick takes place on the greatest zombie map ever made, Voyage of Despair. Doing this simple trick can get you the Wonder Weapon and the Homunculus for free. When I explain this, I know it's going to sound like a troll, Jimbothy type video, but I promise this is 100% legitimate. To do this, you first need to complete the clock step in your game. This doesn't work unless you have that step completed. And by the way, if you don't know how to do the clock step or this Easter egg, why don't you watch my Voyage of Despair Easter egg guide? Card is on the screen right now. But anyways, when you have that step done, get to the end of round 9 and go to the 3rd class burst area and crouch in this corner and hold interact for a second before moving. Now while staying crouched and holding interact this entire time, take the same exact route that I am right now. For the most part, you just want to walk in a certain direction until you hit a piece of the iceberg on the ship, and then change directions. But anyways, make sure that you're following the same path that I am. And when you get to the bloodstain on the ship, let go of your interact button, melee twice, stand up, and switch weapons. And when you do, you'll get the Wonder Weapon and the Homunculus for free. Every player in the game can do this, which makes this extremely overpowered. But even for solo players, it makes setting up on this map a lot easier. Moving from one of the hardest solo maps to one of the hardest solo Easter eggs, the next tip takes place on Moon. On most zombie games, and specifically for speedruns, PC players automatically have the advantage because when you have to interact with something, they can just tap interact to grab it instead of holding the interact button like controller players have to. One step where this isn't the case though, is interacting with the computer on Moon. Regardless if you're on keyboard or mouse or controller, you can actually spam interact on this computer to beat this step around 15 to 20 seconds faster than you would if you were just holding the interact button. I'm surprised not a lot of people know this. This doesn't help with the bad box RNG that you have, but at least you'll have an easy way to beat one of the most annoying steps in this quest. On Mob of the Dead, there's a cool shortcut you can do to grab one of the skulls for the free Blunder Gap. Outside of the cafeteria, if you aim where I am, you can actually collect the skull on the roof. That's it. That's all I have to say for this one. It was short, but it was helpful. Another short but helpful tip is on the Eisendrache. Did you know you can activate the rocket test whenever you want? If you didn't know, the rocket test can be activated by spawning power-ups in the map. This works with zombie power-ups, but what makes this crazy is it also works with power-ups spawned with gobblegums. Every 2 minutes, the rocket test will be ready to go off. Whenever you spawn a power-up in the map, the rocket test will go off. This is why the rocket test seems to always go off after you kill a panzer or when you spawn the free death machine in the low grav room. This is a really easy way to get the magma bow started or get the Ragnarok perk without having to wait 10 minutes. It's just overall a really helpful tip. One of the hardest bosses to kill normally in COD Zombies is the margwas on Shadows of Evil. With its only weak point being its head and there being 3 that you have to take out, it can be a real pain for a lot of players to actually kill this boss. Thankfully, there is multiple ways to easily kill him on any round. The first way is the easier, more well-known way, and that is, of course, with the Civil Protector. When you call the Civil Protector in the map, he'll actually have a marker on the ground showing where he'll land. If any margwas is close to that circle, when he lands in the map, he will actually insta-kill the margwas. This is a great way to kill the margwas when you're going for high rounds, but the problem with this is, sometimes the Civil Protector will last for a really long time before he dies, and he can mess up your train and potentially even get you down. So, if you don't want that to happen, then I have another way to easily kill the margwas. To do this, you first need to get the upgraded sword. When you have it, anytime that a margwas spawns, pull out your sword and click the left trigger ability to unleash the Archon sword. Now hurry up and go into beast mode. Once in beast mode, go up to the margwas and melee his open mouth, and if you did it correctly, you should instantly destroy his head. If you're fast enough, you can do this for all 3 of his heads before you exit beast mode, but chances are you'll probably only break 2 of them and then you'll be kicked out of beast mode. And at this point, he'll only have 1 head left, so you can easily finish him off with like an Arnie or something. Going from one apothecant to another, our final trick today takes place on Revelations. The egg step in this Easter egg is widely considered as one of the worst steps in this quest. Well, did you know that you can actually duplicate the eggs to the point where you only need to find 1? This unfortunately only works on co-op, but the more players you have, the easier it is. So when someone finds an egg, everybody needs to go to the pack-a-punch room and stand next to where you place the eggs. eggs. Now, the player that is currently holding the egg needs to walk up to it and do nothing. From here, whoever doesn't have an egg needs to interact with it to place the egg down, and if you did it right, whoever found the egg should still have it in their HUD. So at this point, you can repeat this for the other 3 eggs. This saves you around like 3 minutes of looking for eggs around the map, and it just overall makes this step a lot easier. So there was a bunch of tips and tricks to help you get better at COD Zombies. If you learned something today, do me a favor and drop a like. While I have you here, why don't you watch my updated Easter egg guides? I have one for every single Black Ops 4 Zombies map, and I'm currently working on Black Ops 3. I have one on Garage Kirby, and the next one will be Revelations. If you don't want that, watch the video where I rank every Zombies game from worst to best. That one's quite comical. If you don't want that, then why don't you check out the coolest Easter eggs in COD Zombies history. Thank you so much for watching, and with that being said, I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.